What's the joke for today?
Oh man, that is a real good question. It's like an old computer just slowly booting up. Running Windows 95.
It's not serviced anymore.
Nope. Oh yeah. What's the difference between Paul Walker and my computer?
What?
You ever fuck when my computer crashes?
How you doing? I'm lerongajang and we're back with another training vlog for weight supremacy. This is our 4th session upload. Going strong so far. I'm happy that I've been able to maintain consistency with uploads. I plan to keep that rolling. So we're on Monday, Thursday upload schedule for now. Today we did back again. Unfortunately Danny was unable to attend, so Dr. No and myself hammered a session of deadlifts and rows. As usual, we started with our 135 warm-up sets, took it slow. We did both our first warm-up set in conventional stance. The warm-up sets are a great place to switch up your style. Conventional stance is very different from sumo, and your strength in different areas will determine whether you will pull better in conventional versus sumo. Conventional is very lower back dependent. You are also able to fire up the quads, and a lot of people are quad heavy. Anterior muscle groups are typically strong in comparison to posterior chain. I like sumo style at the moment. It hits that posterior chain really well, and I have had no problem activating my hams and glutes during the lift. So generally, I will practice conventional stance during warm-up sets just to keep it warm, and then pull heavy with sumo. Also, I used to be a member of a Shotokan karate club in southern Ohio, and one of my favorite standing positions was called kibadachi, which translates as straddle leg stance. We stood in that position for hours, and in a way, it's very similar to doing a sumo-style pause squat, but used in a fighting position. If you've seen Jean-Claude Van Damme when he does those side stances and steps into those big dramatic thrust kicks, he usually starts and ends in kibadachi. I mention him because I know he specifically learned karate, as opposed to a lot of other martial arts action stars who were trained in kung fu or wushu or something like that. But of course, those iconic and super powerful side thrust kicks by Bruce Lee also began and ended in a kibadachi style stance. Well, anyway, I think that's the main reason I like sumo style stances. Now, kibadachi, your toes would come forward a little bit more, and you kind of screw your feet into the ground for grip and strength. With sumo, it's slightly different because your feet have to point out a bit, allowing your knees to flare out, and that will allow room for the bar to travel straight up and down. Dr. No was able to pull a little heavier today. Last week, he had some sharpness in the lower glute, and that was becoming a hassle to him. I took note of a few corrections he could work on to get his bar path straighter, which would definitely allow him to pull more without working nearly as hard. He works hard every single time. So sometimes it kind of takes me some time to observe people and determine how they can improve a movement. And I had not really noticed how far back Dr. No's shoulders pull from the bar. Initially, it was a very good thing because I wanted him to be mindful of that lower back. So I definitely placed a lot of emphasis on creating a slight anterior pelvic tilt, and they're just keeping the back neutral, just to avoid the rounding. As you know, posterior pelvic tilt in the deadlift can easily result in wheelchair city, and we don't want that. So anyway, I think Nirkorn has really just been keeping mindful of the lower back and perhaps over-exaggerating that backward shoulder tuck to create that neutrality before the pull. However, when his shoulders pull back behind the bar, he ends up using extra energy to move forward again by the time the lift actually begins. The arms, which should really just be linkages, get involved, and the bar has to travel slightly over the knees. Of course, when you're pulling sumo, that posterior chain has to be involved, and when you have to travel forward, those muscles get kind of pushed out of sync, and the lift gets tough. In any case, we discussed making a few changes to the form, and I'm sure Dr. No will definitely he'll be getting it down pretty easily. I've trained with a lot of people, and he's able to capture form perfection much easier than most, and he takes instruction very well, so I think that will definitely help him go very far as a lifter. So after our deadlift party, we picked up the triangle and hit up some T-bar rows, which are one of my favorites for building mass in the back. I don't really have the room or equipment to set up a real T-bar row, so we just put them in after deadlifts. The bumpers on either side make it pretty easy to row the bar up, and furthermore, we can keep a different amount of plates on either side. After the rows, we did some bent over reverse flies with lightweight. We're aiming to hit that scapular retraction, also get that upper back and rear deltoids pumped a bit. The rep range was 12 to 15 reps. After that, we actually did some slow release pull-ups, which I have no footage of since I forgot to hit record. Those are great for developing width, and essentially you do a pull-up, then you slowly release yourself down to the bottom of the movement, and you pull up again. They are totally brutal, especially if you've already shredded your lats up with rows and stuff. So we finished with dumbbell rows, 3 sets of 20 reps. The back is a big group of muscles, and it's really beneficial to give it a lot of blood. High reps on isolated movements for big muscle groups is absolutely necessary, in my opinion, in developing size and top-end strength. Of course, max strength comes from low-rep explosive sets, so I think it's beneficial to incorporate both types of training. Even better would be scheduling 2 training days per week on a specific muscle group or movements, one for strength and one for dynamic effort. And that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in once again. Don't ever forget that it's never too late to move some weight. I'm lerongajang. You are watching Weight Supremacy. Have a nice day. Stay pumped.